This week on the 1044, the cost of congestion on the Interstate Highway System grew 25% from 2017 to 2019, according to the Federal Highway Administration. Just how much is that congestion costing the trucking industry and the U.S. economy? Hey everybody, and welcome to the 1044, a weekly webisode from the editors here at CCJ. I'm Jason Cannon, and my co-host on the other side is Matt Cole. The American Road and Transportation Builders Association released a study this week analyzing 2019 data from the Federal Highway Administration that found freight bottlenecks cost the U.S. economy about $42 billion that year. ARTBA also found that trucking lost nearly 660 million hours due to trucks being stuck in traffic at these bottlenecks.
That's right, Jason, and that trend doesn't appear to be slowing down. From 2017 to 2019, the cost of congestion grew from $12 billion to $15 billion. That's a 25% increase in just 2 years. I spoke with ARTBA Chief Economist Dr. Allison Primo Black, who authored the study, and asked her what kind of impact these costs and delays have on not only the trucking industry, but the economy as a whole.
One thing that really jumped out is that the cost of freight highway bottlenecks, that is in every state. So of course we see some very big numbers in major freight corridors and states that you would expect, like California, New York, New Jersey, but also in smaller states, that congestion can cost over $100 billion. And those are costs that are going to be likely passed on to consumers. Well, one thing is for sure, there are a lot of truck drivers spending a lot of time stuck in congestion. And this report is only looking at those hours. It's not even talking about commuters or probably, return to traffic volumes that we might see now that we're kind of starting to come out of the pandemic. But certainly as people are driving more, as we are starting to now, I've gotten a lot of things delivered in the last year. I think a lot of people across the country now are really relying on some of the delivery like we haven't in a way before. So I imagine that's going to continue as part of our way of life in the future, which is going to place even more stress on some of these freight bottlenecks. And they're also occurring near ports, near other logistic intermodal centers. So this is really an issue, not just of highways, even though that's what's in this number, but of our larger transportation system in general.
You want to bear in mind that these numbers are from 2019, which is right before the entire world shut down due to the pandemic. It's very possible that we'll see these numbers fall a little bit with the next report with 2020 data. But as Dr. Black mentions, many people's buying habits changed over the course of the past year, and they're ordering more things online. With more people returning to their jobs in person this year and venturing back out onto the highway, I don't really expect to see a lot of improvement from 2020.
I think in the future, there's no question that, we might see some change in overall commuting patterns, but I think in terms of truck freight shipments and deliveries, that's going to be just as important, if not more important, as our economy rebounds and starts to grow again. There's very close links between congestion, freight traffic, obviously, and our overall economy. So, I expect we'll also see people getting back in the office and driving to work, which is going to compound this issue. But I don't think that trend, if it goes down in 2020, that's not going to be for long. Yeah, I think the one thing is we've seen those congestion costs go up, especially for those top 100 bottlenecks, which again are going to be really key areas to regional as well as the national economy. So I think absent investment, that trend will continue for some of those top bottlenecks. You might see some easing over the next year. We'll see as businesses decide, are my workers going to come in every day, 5 days a week, or am I going to allow more flexibility? So I think you might see some shift in trend there, but I don't think that's going to be enough to offset the additional growth as our economy grows with some of those freight shipments and those business shipments for goods and services.
And as we talked about last week on the 1044, the FAST Act highway bill is set to expire in about 4 months, and members of Congress are currently working on surface transportation reauthorization legislation. How they decide to allocate those funds when they pass a bill will go a long way toward determining whether these congestion problems improve or not. ARTBA's report notes that the value of truck shipments is expected to more than double by 2045, which means if improvements aren't made, these numbers will continue to grow.
This is it's a chokehold on the economy. And if you're not able to move those goods and services in an efficient manner, that's going to add significant costs for businesses. With transportation, logistics are already a really big piece of that business pie. The other thing is investing in transportation. We always say you pay for it one way or the other. If you don't make those investments, you're going to pay those additional costs, which again, we're seeing quantified in that $42 billion. So you pay for it one way or the other. And I think, if we could really make some of these investments to lower those transportation logistical costs for US businesses, that is also one of the key ways to boost productivity throughout the economy. So it's a really important piece. And I think the debates going on in Congress right now, the early discussions about increasing federal investment are really important. And if we can get that, and if Congress can find that will, that political will to get this done, I think that could be a generational level of investment in change that's really going to help our economy and future generations.
One thing on the horizon that could potentially help the situation is automated vehicles. As advancements are made in that space and as more vehicles are able to communicate with each other, you eliminate some of the human error element that contributes to this congestion. However, it's going to take more than just autonomous vehicle development to make it all work.
I think certainly, if anything that can increase the flow of traffic will help alleviate congestion, especially combined with some of those investments. But there's a lot of work that we need to do with our infrastructure in general to get ready for autonomous vehicles and making sure that our roads are safe and ready for that development. So I think, again, that additional investment is going to help states make those repairs, as well as those investments in technology for the future and what we see will be coming. Certainly with the striping, some of those for connected vehicles, as well as some of those things. Yeah, I think we'll probably start to see those improvements adopted as we see more autonomous vehicles and that becomes more common.
That's it for this week's 1044. You can read more on autonomous vehicles, the economy, and congestion, all on ccjdigital.com. And as always, you can find the 1044 each week on CCJ's YouTube channel. If you've got questions, comments, criticisms, or feedback, please hit us up at 1044trucking@gmail.com or give us a call at 404-491-1380. Until next week, everybody stay safe.